Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Kate. I am the Main Street ROI Content Marketing Manager. We're really excited today to have Hank here from iContact to present with us on the 5 habits of highly successful email marketers. Today's presentation will run about an hour, 45 minutes or so for content, and then we'll do a Q&A live with both of the presenters at the end. We will also be sending out a replay email within the next 24 hours that will have a link to this webinar as well as a PDF to the slides, so you don't have to worry about trying to write down every single thing on here. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to our presenters so that they can introduce themselves, and I'll check back in at the Q&A at the end.
All right, great. Thanks, Kate. So my name is Phil Frost. I'm the founder and COO of Main Street ROI. Our business provides digital marketing services like SEO, online advertising, email marketing, even some WordPress development. To date, I now have over 12 years of experience in online advertising. Got started way back in 2006, back when I had a flip phone that could barely even, I don't even think it accessed the internet, which is kind of crazy to think about now. And as you can see on the slide, also an author and speaker. My thought leadership has been featured in sites like Forbes, Inc., MSN. Also write a column on a marketing magazine. And I also enjoy running in what I call my backyard, which is Central Park. I live on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Our office is on 23rd and 6th. And I live with my wife, Erin, and my 2 kids. I've got 5-year-old daughter, Violet, and almost 3-year-old chubby son, Emmett. With that, I'll kick it back over to Hank.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to talk to you. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer. I am a Strategic Insights Manager with iContact. iContact provides email marketing and marketing automation solutions for your business. My job pretty much is to help small businesses or medium-sized businesses, as well as iContact customers, succeed with email marketing and marketing automation. I provide a lot of valuable insights through a podcast, Hank's Marketing and Business Tips, as well as my recently published book, The ABCs of the Customer Journey, A Beginner's Guide to Automation, Branding, and Customer Service. We hope that today's webinar will provide you with a lot of helpful information to run your email marketing campaigns successfully. We all know the phrase, practice becomes perfect. But have you ever stopped and thought how hard it is to perfect something? What you want to do today is think about the phrase, practice becomes permanent rather than perfect. We'll be discussing what it takes to ensure that you habitually develop highly successful email campaigns so you convert more and increase your return on investment and increase your sales. According to the DMA, email marketing has an ROI of over 3,000%. And I did not make a mistake there. Yes, it's 3,000%. The average order value for email marketing is at least 3 times higher than social media. Think about it. For every dollar you spend on email marketing, you should generate between $30 and $42 in ROI. When it comes to social media, you still need an email address to sign up for an account. Therefore, I feel email marketing is still king. Today, we're going to cover the 5 habits where you can develop highly successful email marketing campaigns. The first one is going to be developing a healthy subscriber acquisition and growth plan. The second one will be designing emails that help you convert more. The third one is going to be improving your email deliverability or getting more of your emails to the inbox. And also, the fourth one is going to be analyzing your results. You cannot really make changes or become more effective if you're not looking at what you're doing. And last, but certainly not least, the 5th habit should be adding automation to your marketing campaigns. The first habit is developing a healthy subscriber acquisition and growth plan. Collecting email addresses needs to become important, and it needs to become a habit for every marketer. Marketing is a numbers game. If you think about it, the larger your audience, the better chance you have of converting a sale. We're going to discuss ways you can obtain and grow your subscriber lists. You should only collect the information you need upfront to help you send relevant emails to your audience. Usually this will be an email address and maybe a first name. By obtaining the first name, you can personalize your emails and make them more engaging. But if you ask for too much information up front, it'll cause friction and hesitancy to provide any information whatsoever. There are numerous ways that you can collect email addresses. The first one is going to be through a sign-up form. It's a great way to grow your subscriber list. When using forms on your website or landing pages, it's important that you stick to your branding, both the look and feel, as well as the verbiage you use. Make sure that people know that when they see a form, that it belongs to you and they will not confuse it with a pop-up or maybe a pay-per-click ad. Also, make sure you stick to any brand messaging or any brand messaging guidelines that you may have for your business. In other words, don't confuse your potential subscribers. You can use a static form on your website. Basically, it always lives in one place, as well as pop-up forms and slide-ins. A static form may be at the top, side, or bottom of your website, and it'll always be visible. A pop-up or slide-in can be configured to show after a certain amount of time when somebody is on your website. Or maybe when they leave your website, you give them an opportunity to sign up before they leave. A good rule of thumb is to serve your pop-up or slide-in after some time, maybe 20 or 30 seconds. You want to make sure your visitors absorb some of the content on your website and learn about you before you ask them to subscribe. Only ask for the information you need. If you ask for too much, again, you're going to create friction and anxiety, leading to form abandonment. Usually the first name and email address is plenty for you to get started. Sometimes just an email address is just enough. You can always ask for more information later through the use of profile pages and surveys. If you do not have a valid reason to ask for more information, maybe you shouldn't do it. Restaurants usually can ask for more information because they're going to send you more relevant emails. Most times when I see a sign-up form on a restaurant website, they ask for the date of birth. I don't know about you, but I love free food. And most times when restaurants ask for your birthday, they want to send you a coupon for either a free meal or a heavily discounted meal. I like to take advantage of those. Make sure you ask for what you need and you feel that your subscribers will provide. That may take some testing, so try some different things out and see where your sweet spot is. Here's an example for Fuji. They sell outdoor equipment. They're just simply asking for your email address. By obtaining the email address, there's low friction, and it allows Fuji to go ahead and just start sending emails to you. They can always ask for your first name and other information later. Talking about restaurants, Biscayne Tavern here is asking for your first and last name, email address, and your birthday to send you those valuable coupons, as well as what locations would you want to receive updates about. Maybe you live in one area that's close to where they have a location, or it could also be maybe you're traveling to a certain area that has a restaurant. You can opt into the locations that you would love to see emails from. Bangkok Newsletter on the right-hand side is asking you if you want to learn about food, if you want to learn about nightlife, or maybe you just want to opt into their PDF magazine. They're giving you that choice. Some examples for pop-ups and slide-ins are right here on this slide. You see a pop-up that comes up maybe about 20 seconds on this website here on the left, and they're just asking if you're enjoying the tutorials, and maybe you want to subscribe to get some more information. Be careful with pop-ups though, because on a mobile device, if that pop-up covers most of the real estate on the phone, Google is going to penalize you and not show you as much in the search engine results. Try not to cover a majority of the screen. Test it to find out what's going on. Therefore, your search engine results will be better than if you were penalized by Google. On the bottom right, this is from my website. When a user goes to my website and scrolls down 30% of the page, This slide-in comes up from the bottom and asks you to sign up for my journal, which just provides some insights into things I'm learning about, great podcasts I found, or maybe articles that I read. Phil's going to show us some examples from his slides.
Okay, great. And then I saw a question here from Nikki. What about B2B forms? And this is actually a great example right here. This is on our website, mainstreetroi.com. And on our blog, you'll see it's kind of grayed out there. It's 3 Google SEO updates you should know about for 2018. So it's an article about SEO. And the point of this slide is just to emphasize the importance of having a relevant offer. So someone is reading about SEO. They want to be staying up to date about SEO. So we're showing a relevant offer for an SEO checklist. And what we call this is a lead magnet. Any type of free offer can be used as a lead magnet. In this case, it's B2B. We're trying to target other businesses who are interested in learning more about SEO. And as Hank mentioned, we're just trying to capture the minimum amount of information. Try not to create too much friction here. So it's just enter a valid email address, and they click on that button, and then that redirects them to a thank you page. So that's a example of a pop-up, and it also addresses Nikki's question there about what you can do for B2B. So you can have free offers like a checklist, a guide, case studies. If you have any type of free demo, that can also be a good lead magnet. And then on the next slide, I wanted to show you another version of that slide in. So at the top, this is our home page. At the top, you'll see get our newsletter and join 36,000 other small business owners. And that's a button to sign up. And then that shoots you over to the form where it collects the email address. And I think we also asked for first name. The point of this, though, is actually a really good opportunity to add some credibility. So if you have an email list, and it doesn't have to be over 36,000, maybe you only have 500 or 1,000, but that shows some credibility, shows a lot of social proof to the visitor, and that can then lead to an increase in conversion rates or opt-in rates. And then the other point here that I wanted to make is that historically I've actually been a little bit down on putting a straight sign up for our newsletter on your site. Generally, people don't want to sign up for newsletters, so I emphasize having those free offers, the lead magnet or a demo or a coupon. But keep in mind that some people are going to be reading your emails, and they're going to then recommend your emails to a friend, and those are great referrals. You want them to be able to come to your website and easily be able to sign up for a newsletter. I know Kate on our team was actually complaining. She went to a website recently. She wanted to join their newsletter, couldn't even figure out how to do that, got frustrated, and then just left the website. And you don't want that to happen if someone recommended your business. You don't want them to be frustrated. You want them to quickly be able to sign up.
Great, thank you, Phil. Moving on, another way to collect email addresses is using paper forms. It's okay to use paper forms, but make sure that you're obtaining quality data. In other words, it may be hard to read someone's handwriting, or you can make mistakes when you enter it into a computer. Just make sure that you tell people to properly print their name or use blocks, or maybe find a way to add them to a computer so that it's the most quality, or let them enter it themselves maybe. There are also third-party apps that can be used at trade shows, conferences, and even while networking. Here's one on an iPhone. These apps allow you to save the data locally and synchronize it later, or you can use your internet-capable device, whether it's a phone or a tablet, to automatically synchronize with whatever list provider you're using. Next, what you want to do is send a welcome email when someone signs up for your email newsletter. It's important to send that initial welcome email to set expectations and tell subscribers what they'll receive and how often they're going to receive it. It'll help remind people that they signed up for your emails, and it may stop them from marking your messages spam or just ignoring it. It really helps start that relationship off right and hopefully last a long time. Let's take a look at some example welcome emails. Caribou Coffee on the left explains what you should expect from them. They're also giving you a free drink on your birthday, letting you know about exclusive offers and new product launch information. So if you're into new types of coffees or new flavors, you want to stay in the know. In the middle, Michael's is providing a 20% off coupon for signing up and also help set expectations. For a B2B example on the right-hand side, Litmus informs subscribers that they will receive tips, case studies, and resources so that you're always on the lookout for their email.
And I snuck in this example again for anyone that's targeting B2B, so business to business. You might not want to lead with a special offer like the examples on the previous slide. And as Hank mentioned, the welcome email is a great opportunity to start that relationship, set expectations. And here's just a straightforward text example. Nothing fancy about it. Just starts that relationship, lets them know that we're going to be following up with a newsletter. Here's why you should stay subscribed. And then it also sets expectations about, having the subscribers actually read your information. That's the whole battle for your inbox attention section. And we want people on our list who are eager to learn, and that's why we have this type of a welcome message. Kind of sets that expectation that, hey, we're going to be providing a lot of great information. It's kind of a two-way street. You also have to open up and actually read those emails, and we found that has led to better open rates down the road.
Yeah, and it's important to note that sending a welcome email is important. And what you want to do is remind the people that sign up for your newsletter that they're going to receive emails from you. If you were to sign someone up and then it took you 1 week or a month to send an email, they may have forgotten about you by then, and they receive an email, they'll say, I don't remember signing up for this, and they may mark it as spam, or they may just delete it and really not engage with your emails. What you want to do is initially send that welcome email so people are welcome into the fold and continue to consume your content. Let's move on to the second habit, which is designing emails that help you with your conversions. In order to attract the attention of your subscribers, you need to have awesome looking emails. This means you need to have enticing subject lines, engaging content, and most importantly, professional looking email templates. Having great subject lines will help you gain the attention in a busy inbox. Think about how many emails you receive throughout the day and how hard it is to pick one email out from your inbox. Here are some things that you could do to get your subscribers to open emails. You can personalize the subject line with the recipient's first name. Everyone likes to have that one-on-one relationship type feel. Therefore, if you use the first name, it's going to feel a little bit more personalized. Make sure to use action words like save, act now, specials, or maybe last chance. Subject lines should be between 6 and 10 words in length. This is optimal and has a less chance of being cut off in the inbox view. Numbers and symbols have also shown to be popular, as well as emojis. They've become more popular over the last few years. Emojis really help you stand out in the inbox. I like to point out that most marketers tend to use more emojis around the holidays, then back off. But if you use them year-round, you'll stand out a little bit more. You need to be careful when using emojis, however, since not all email clients support them. Make sure you test. Speaking about testing, make sure that you're split testing your content, especially subject lines. This means taking 2 copies of the same email and using different subject lines. What you could do is take 10% of your subscriber list, send them version A. Then you take version B and send another 10% of your subscriber list the second version. And after some time, maybe 24 hours or 48 hours, what you'll do is go back and see which email had a higher open rate. From there, you can send the one that wins, A or B, to the remaining 80% of your list. That is a great way to get more opens and convert more subscribers. As a pro tip, there's something called pre-header text. This is something that acts as an extension of your subject line. If you take a look at this example here, we have the from name, which is who the email is coming from. And on the right, we have the subject line in bold. But after that, the gray text is your pre-header text. Pre-header text is going to be the first little bit of text that's in your email, usually at the top, and that gets pulled in. Rather than using something like cannot read this email, view online, or add us to your address book, use this as valuable real estate to make it as an extension of your subject line. Great emails use a good mix of images, video, and text. It's also good to have a couple different variants of a template. Maybe one with more images and maybe one with more text. Humans are visual by nature. We love images and we love to consume video, and they help convey your message campaigns, your campaign message quickly, and help attract more attention for you. The recipient's eyes normally are drawn right to the images, so put them in strategic locations. Make sure you're using quality images that are not stock photography or maybe unrelated to the content of your email. Images are an awesome way to promote your products and services. Some tips as far as designing your emails: keep your images under 600 pixels wide so they render correctly in all email clients. And make sure you have a good mix of images and text in your emails. When it comes to text to image ratio, it's good to have about one paragraph of text to every image. Or basically, the general rule of thumb is a 60-40 split. This means you should have 40% images and 60% text. Spam filters monitor for text to image ratios. A while back, spammers started using overlays on images or text on images to bypass spam filters, but these filters have become smarter. And basically, if you have more images than you do text, your email may not make it to the inbox. Make sure that your call to action is clear and engaging and helps with conversations that look, and also that it looks great on a mobile device. Like subject lines, you should be testing your content as well. It should be images, it should be an image-heavy template versus a more text-heavy template, or maybe just plain text, as Phil showed earlier. You can just go ahead and test those and see which one resounds with your audience. Let's look at some examples of templates. Here's Stanley Korshak on the left. They have a large hero image and then some text below. They're clearly looking to promote one particular product or maybe an initiative they have, and this is a great template to do that. The Oregon State Marine Board on the right here uses a basic template with placeholder images here because it's not built out yet, but it has a good mix of text and images, and it uses something I like to call the classic Z pattern. By nature, when we read, we go left to right and down. So you'll look at the image, look at the text on the right, look at the button, then go down to the next text. It's a good way to draw the reader's eyes downward. Here's one from Macon, Georgia. It's simple and to the point, but yet it's designed to spark interest in the reader and get more information. After seeing this email, who wouldn't want to visit Macon? Back to Rock on the right-hand side does a great job presenting multiple subjects clearly. This layout is a great example of how to present diverse subjects while minimizing clutter. The Bates Group on the left is a treat to read visually because it's got visually contrasting information and uses different font styles to keep your attention as the email flows down. And the Astro email on the right makes good use of color and a centered layout to call attention to the products and supported testimonials. Testimonials is a great way to add social proof to your emails and help with conversions.
All right, I snuck in a little text email here, so I definitely recommend, as Hank mentioned, testing different variations. And a lot of the examples above were more newsletter type templates. And this example here is more of a straightforward promotional email that is designed to look like a one-to-one email, and that can have a great conversion rate. So this is an actual email that we created for a chiropractor who was doing a special promotion. You can see for the next 7 days only. I think it was a 50% off deal where they just had to reply to the email or call the office. And I also want to emphasize the call to action here. A lot of the examples above that Hank had had buttons in them, which is great if you're trying to drive traffic to a page, maybe a sales page, maybe it's a page on your website. In this case, just a straightforward reply call to action, we found that can have a very high conversion rate. It's just, if you think about it, intuitively it makes sense. Someone gets an email, looks like it's sent from the chiropractor himself, looks like a personal email. It's very natural and easy to click reply and say, hey, I'm interested in this offer, or hey, I have a question, tell me a little bit more, and now you're into a sales dialogue.
And I believe, Phil, you want to talk about the bank analogy here?
Oh, sorry about that. I was reading a question that just popped in. So yes, this slide here is to emphasize the importance of having a balance in your marketing calendar. So Hank and I have talked about promotional emails. We've talked about newsletters. One way to think about this is to use what I call the bank analogy. And the way to think about it is when you go to your bank, you can either do two things. You can make a deposit, put money into your account, or you can make a withdrawal, take money out. And with email marketing, you basically can do the same thing. And your email list is your bank. And when you do a withdrawal, you are doing a promotion. You're asking your list, your audience, to take an action, whether that's to reply or go buy something, take advantage of a special offer. That's a promotion, that's a withdrawal. And then you can also make a deposit to your audience. That would be providing some kind of value to your audience. And generally that's going to be in the form of a newsletter. You're going to educate them, keep them up to date with trends, give them some tips, some best practices, how-to information. That's why people are going to be excited to get your emails. They're going to get some value from it. And that basically tees up the promotions, because now they're getting value. That allows you to send some promotional copy and do withdrawals. And with that analogy in mind, you want to have a balance of at least one-to-one. That's what we found works best. So if you're sending 2 emails a month, one should be more of a deposit providing value, and then one would be more promotional. And then, if you're doing more emails or less emails, just try to keep that ratio in mind.
Great, and I think that's a great segue into the next habit, which is improved deliverability. Some of what Phil mentioned plays an important part here, and we'll get into that. But in order to have highly successful email marketing campaigns, you need to have a good open rate, and more importantly, have favorable inbox placement. Nobody likes to have their emails delivered to the spam folder, especially as marketers. We don't like to see that happen. And nothing will kill your ROI worse than the spam folders. Service providers like Gmail, Yahoo, and others, they want to provide their customers, which are the inbox owners, a good experience. They don't want people to receive emails that they would not like to read or that are indeed spam. What happens is when you start sending emails from your domain or from a service provider and start sending them to Gmail, Yahoo, or a B2B provider, what happens is they're taking a look at what you're doing and they're grading you. I like to akin that to a credit score. When you send emails out and people are engaging with them, let's say they're opening it, forwarding it, starring it, marking it as important, and usually just engaging with it in a positive manner, your credit score increases or stays high. When negative things like marking your messages spam, deleting, or ignoring your email happen, it's going to degrade or make your credit score lower or worse. At some point, when your credit score becomes low enough, a majority of your emails are going to end up going to the spam folder. Now, you might say, well, I noticed that some of my subscribers still open the emails. Yes, that's true. If some of your folks are still highly engaged and they're opening a lot of your emails or engaging with them, they'll still receive your emails. But what you may notice is new subscribers end up having the email delivered to spam. Make sure that you're keeping your credit score high, and we'll talk about some ways to do that. A couple right off are going to be a little more technical in a way, but what you want to do is make sure that you keep your spam complaints low and avoid spam traps. These both can damage your sender reputation or credit score, causing you to have more of your emails delivered to the spam folders. Spam traps are fresh, non-public email addresses or reclaimed email addresses that no one's used to catch nefarious senders. Or in other words, if you're sending to those email addresses, it's going to hurt your credit score. You want to make sure you're staying off any blacklists as well. If you receive numerous spam complaints, you may find yourself on something called the blacklist. This is where you're listed on a blacklisted service, and recipient servers like Gmail, Yahoo, or B2B services, they look at these lists and they block anyone from sending emails to them if you're on that list. It takes a lot of time to resolve any blacklist issues, so you want to make sure you stay clear of them. List hygiene is another important way to help your emails have a better inbox rate. By cleaning off dead weight from your lists, you can improve your open rate and inbox placement. You should look at cleaning your list of people who have not engaged with your emails at least every 6 months, if not a year. What you could do is send a series of, say, 3 emails to your disengaged folks and say, are we breaking up? ? That can be your first email. And usually that type of question is going to get someone to open it. And in that email, you would say, we notice you haven't been opening our emails. Do you still want our emails? If so, here's a 20% off coupon. Then you would send a second email to anyone who's not opened the first one and say, we have not heard from you. And then finally, third and last email would be, this is your last chance. What you'll do is take a look at all 3 of those emails, and anyone who's not opened any of those, you're just going to go ahead and remove them. Don't worry, they can always come back later, and you can always start sending emails to them at a later point, but it's worth removing them to make sure you're showing these email providers that you mean business and that you only want engaged people on your subscriber lists. Also, make sure that you're using quality content and you have a consistent engagement. Make sure you provide value in all of your emails rather than sell, 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 as Phil mentioned with his bank analogy. This helps with your credit score because more people will engage with it rather than not engage with it, delete it, or mark it as spam. Always think of the recipient when creating or sending your emails. It's not about you and what you want to promote. It's about what they want. Remember, nobody likes to be sold to, but they like to buy. The fourth habit is to make sure that you're analyzing your results. Make sure you identify your successes and challenges so that you can make improvements in your campaign and do better year over year, month over month, or maybe even week over week. You need to take a look at your data at least once a month or maybe once a week if you can. When we talk about metrics, I want to provide you with some average metrics, and this is what you should strive for. If you're doing better than what I talk about, that's great. That's awesome. Keep up the good work. If you're a little bit below it, maybe you can work on improvements. For your open rates, you want to be somewhere around 20%. That's what the average open rate for email marketing is. When it comes to clicks, you want to be around 5%. So if you're lower than that, try to have better offers. If you're higher than that, kudos to you. When it comes to bounces or invalid email addresses, make sure they're less than 1% of the list that you're sending to. You want to make sure your unsubscribe rate is less than 0.05% or 5 per 1,000. This will help you know that your emails are resounding with your audience and that you're probably going to get more engagement. If you want specific industry metrics, you can go to smartinsights.com. They'll have some more listings about different industries so that we don't have to spend time going over a bunch of different industries. And as I mentioned, these are overall averages. You also want to make sure you're comparing your campaigns. One thing you can do is look at the time of day. When are people opening? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Make sure that you're sending the email when more people will open it. Compare your subject lines. As I mentioned with the split testing, see which ones are doing better than others. You also want to test personalization versus non-personalized emails. It's also important to note to check your holiday campaigns and look how you did year over year. How did this year's holiday campaigns do versus last year's holiday campaigns? What tweaks can you make and what items can you reuse from last year? And talking about comparing, you want to make sure you're comparing month over month and year over year averages. Take the average metrics for last month, and then when this month is over, take a look at your average metrics. Are they increasing or decreasing? Is it because you're seasonal, or is it just because you need to make some tweaks to your campaigns or maybe content? Last but not least, the habit that we're going to talk about for number 5 is going to be adding automation to your campaigns. Automation helps you deliver more impactful marketing. Marketing automation allows you to send the right message to the right person at the right time. It'll help provide you with tools to personalize and trigger the right content to help you engage with your audience and nurture more sales. That's what we all want. Why use your brain power to develop a habit when you can actually automate it? We're in a time where consumers are so much more empowered than ever before. They have so much more information and yield a lot more buying power than in the past. First, they're mobile. They have a mobile device. They're able to look up information and pricing on the fly. You can go into a store, look at a product, see how much it is, and you can find out how much that same item costs in different stores. You can check up on information about services. If you're looking to work with someone on the business side, you can do some research and obtain some references. Next, they're hands-on. They can try before they buy. They can return at will and click their way to new options and choices. The empowered consumer is smart. They use their social network of friends and coworkers to give them feedback on potential purchases, trips, or maybe they want to work with a vendor and they want to see if that person is reputable. They're also vocal. They're quick to share their opinions and experiences online by providing reviews and comments to other people's experiences. You want to make sure that you're taking advantage of this and getting as much positive publicity rather than negative publicity. They're committed. Service and quality often beats privacy these days. An empowered consumer can be loyal, but only if it goes both ways. Last but not least, I feel that we're global citizens. We're able to do research if we're going to be traveling to a different country or a different state and see where we want to eat and maybe where we want to buy products and services, or maybe we just want to buy a gift for someone in a different area. We're able to do a lot more research from wherever we are. Automation is great, and if you're not using it now, you're probably dealing with a continual repetition of tasks, an untimely follow-up, a lack of personalization, no visibility into your contact inactivity, and basically, marketing is a major headache without automation, so you should consider it if you're not using it now. By using landing pages, which is a part of automation, you can attract and convert an audience to a sale. A landing page is a specific page for a product or service where you get to the point. And that's usually obtaining an email address or maybe creating a conversion. They allow you to obtain leads and information that fuel your marketing automation machine. Use your activity channels to drive traffic to your landing page. This could be social media, email marketing, blogging, and others. Make sure that your landing page is branded and focused. You want to make sure you're testing copy, images, and most importantly, button colors. Yes, that makes a difference. Because you want to make sure you're keeping the friction and anxiety low. In other words, you don't want them to go to your landing page and then leave right away. You want them to read what's there, have it be relevant, and then provide you with information or buy a product or service. You also want to make sure, as Phil mentioned earlier, you're providing an incentive to convert. And it could be entering a contest, it could be a download, a coupon, or maybe you could just use a video to highlight your product or service. The average conversion rate for an effective landing page is about 5%. So make sure that you measure up to that average and see why you might not be hitting the mark, or maybe if you're doing a lot better, that's great. And you can make some small tweaks to make it just a little bit higher. When it comes to automation, there are three types of triggers that you can use with workflows. The first one is activity. An activity could be someone completing a landing page, opening or not opening an email, making a purchase, or even just visiting a website or a web page. Next is dates. Date-driven decisions are based on the length of time or wait for a trigger. Wait X amount of days before checking this data or checking for this action. Workflows can also be triggered by data such as a birth date, last date of purchase, or any other custom data you may have, and even social media data. I'd like to go over a sample automation workflow, and this would be something simple like getting someone set up into your email nurture program. So you would have an audience of people, and you would add people to your audience through a sign-up form, or maybe mentoring them manually, or using an app like we mentioned earlier. You'll automatically right away send that welcome email saying, welcome to my newsletter. Here's what you can expect. Then we'll wait a couple days and we'll send another email. That will have a little bit of an emotional appeal to it and try to get them to convert. And then what we can do is wait 3 days and say, did they open my emotional appeal email? If yes, let's go ahead and send the differentiator A email. And if they didn't, we'll send them differentiator B email. Then we can wait a couple more days and send another email with some testimonials in it. And then again, a few more days, send an email that has an incentive to convert. Maybe this is a really good coupon or an offer or a download, something that's really going to entice them to want to convert. Then what we're going to do is check and say, hey, are they a customer? Did they actually buy from us yet? If they did, let's go ahead and add them to another automated workflow called General Customer. And this is going to tell them a little bit more about us and the information about my company and why we're in business and how we give back to the community. And maybe they didn't buy anything yet, so we'll add them to a re-engagement campaign because maybe they didn't open all of these emails here, and maybe for some reason they do not want to receive emails from us, and we'll add them to a re-engagement workflow, which would automatically send those 3 emails that I discussed earlier as far as re-engagement. If you're wondering what you can automate, here are some ideas. You can automate your list hygiene. In other words, set up those 3 emails. Are we breaking up? Second chance and last chance. And then have the automation process look at those emails. And if none of them were open, go ahead and automatically remove them from the list. You can also check and see if somebody's visited your website or a specific landing page, and then you can stalk them and say, hey, we noticed you stopped by. Why haven't you bought anything? Haven't you bought anything? Here's 5, here's 10% off. You can check and see if somebody's made a purchase. If you've connected shopping cart software or you automatically add your purchase information to an automated product, you can go ahead and say thank you for your purchase, or here's some things that other people have bought after they've purchased this product. You can send a series of information. Maybe you want to tell them a little bit more about your brand story, how you started and what you do to give back to your community, and maybe highlight some of your employees if you have any. You can obtain feedback. If someone bought a product or used your service, what you can do is send out a survey to find out how things are going. You can also send out an informative sequence. Maybe something you sell requires training. What you could do is set up all of these emails that go out once a week that tell people how to use your product, or maybe how to follow up after a service. Maybe you're a consultant and what you want to do is say, hey, I know that our time is over as far as meeting face-to-face, but here are some things you could do to keep improving. Now do you know what triggers automation and what you can automate? Let's talk about some things that you can do with automation. Simply, you can send an email. You can automatically segment or filter your audience based on data or actions. You can add tags or descriptive information to your contacts based on the same information, activity, or data. You can add or remove audience members from lists or workflows. And you can just update and change information on the contact. If they did X, I want to update this in their profile. Maybe if they click this link, their favorite color is going to be blue, so we'll put blue as their favorite color. To recap, the first habit is using forms and welcome emails to increase your subscriber list and set expectations. The second one is to create, use, and test effective subject lines, use professional-looking templates that have engaging content. Habit 3 is keeping your list clean and using proper judgment when sending emails, and make sure to keep your credit score high. The fourth habit is inspecting what you expect. Look at your metrics, make changes, measure again and again, and keep making improvements. And again, last but not least, the fifth habit is using automation to help you send the right message to the right person at the right time so that you can convert more. For attending today, we want to make sure that your email marketing campaigns are as highly successful as possible. I have a bonus for you. We would like to partner you with an email marketing expert here at iContact who will audit your current email marketing campaigns and offer insight into how you can make immediate improvements for success. If you go to icontact.com/LP/audit, you can sign up for this one-on-one conversation. This is free, it's not cost anything. And this is something that our strategic advisors, or basically our consultants, do for our premier clients. So you're going to get that for free. If you're looking for an email provider and you want to sign up for iContact, we do have a 30-day trial. You can sign up for that trial at iContact.com. And if you like what you see and you want to use the product, you can use the code HANKFRIEND for $30 credit on your account. Again, HANKFRIEND for a $30 account credit. We hope that today's webinar was very informative and will help you build the habits that you need to be highly successful. And with that, we're going to open up the floor for questions, and Phil and I will take turns answering some of these questions. And if you have any, please use the chat in the webinar console. We'd be glad to go over them with you.
Okay,
and just
great.
give us a moment to curate some.
Thanks, Hank. This was great information, and I definitely appreciate that offer. I encourage everyone to take Hank up on the free review. It's a generous offer there. Get some feedback on your emails. And Kate, I sent you a chat. Not sure if you saw that, but I privately answered some of these questions, but I think it would be great if you could go through those questions I answered, and then Hank can address them publicly, because I'm sure everyone will want to know the answers.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do that. So one of the questions, Hank, that we had that came through was from John, and he wanted to know about alt text. He asked, should you include alt text in your images? I heard it was required for people who are visually impaired as well as being read by search engines. So just a question on alt text in your emails.
Right. Alt text is important. When it comes to search engines, unless you're hosting that email on a website somewhere, it's not really going to have any relevance to search engine results. But what happens is if somebody's blocking their images, say in Outlook, which is pretty prevalent, what will happen is just a red X shows up. But if you have the alt text, it actually shows the alt text in the box with that red X. And you can explain what that image is, so it might entice them to want to turn images on, or at least know what that image was about.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you. We have two people asking the same question, wanting to know how you can check to see if you're on a blacklist.
Right. There are blacklisting websites you can go to. I don't know one off the top of my head. I used to know them, but you can search to say blacklist check. Don't get freaked out if you find that you're on a blacklist. There are some what we call low-level blacklists that nobody pays attention to. Therefore, you may want to consult with someone to find out. There are services like Return Path that actually help do that. I believe you can sign up with them on a monthly basis. They not only let you know if your email is going to get into the inbox or possibly go to the spam folder, but they also check for blacklists. And as I mentioned, there are numerous types of blacklists, so it's hard to stay on top of everything. But if you're using an email service provider, for the most part, they have what they call spam check, or they do check, and they'll say, hey, we noticed that your URL or your domain is on a blacklist, and that's one way to know. More importantly, at times you may include external links to other websites, and at times if that website is blacklisted or if it's blocked, your email still may not be able to go out the door. In other words, that service provider like iContact or another one may not send an email out because the links that are third party but still blocked, you may cause problems. I think URIBL is one of the major ones, and that's one to check. It's called URIBL, and you can go in and put your domain name in and check.
Got it. Thank you, Hank. So Sandra had shared, she said, we have a lot of clients that are in the category no info, but she doesn't want to delete them. At the same time, she's not sure if they're reading their emails. Do you have any advice for that?
Right. No info means that they have not opened the email. And what you want to do is just identify someone who has no info for a long period of time. In other words, they have 0 opens over a period of, say, 6 months. If you're sending regularly, like once a week, you definitely want to check every 6 months. If you're sending once a month, maybe once a year is good. There was, a great saying in there, how do I know if they're opening or not? Now, there are a certain amount of people that will open emails and not load images. By default, and they just have it that way, and they can still get the gist of the email if there's not a lot of images, but still a lot of text. That's about 1% of the people on your list. Therefore, you don't want to, delete them, but yet you don't know if they're receiving it in email. That's why I say use 3 emails to try to win them back, because what they might do is the people that actually get your emails but don't load images, they'll say, hey, I'm opening, but why am I getting this? We're seeing you're not opening our email. And hopefully they'll reply to it and let you know, or they'll show the images so that you know that they're engaged. But there's nothing worse than keeping old email addresses on your list, because it's skewing your metrics. It can possibly get you into trouble with a spam trap. And more importantly, the more disengaged folks you have than engaged folks on your list, the more your emails are going to go to spam.
All right, so kind of a follow-up question to that. Todd said we have a bunch of cold leads, so leads that are more than 12 months old. How can we email them without risking potentially getting too many unsubscribes or a spam label?
For the most part, I'd recommend not using that, or just do small chunks. And if you can, weave them into your larger list so that it does cut down the ratio a little bit. If you send to a really old list right away, obviously the ratio there is going to be pretty high if you're unsubscribes and bounces. But if you send to small chunks here and there, that can actually help reduce the damage.
Yeah, I'll actually follow up on that. And one thing we did successfully for a client, they had really old customers. Some were 2 years old, so even older than your list there, Todd. And what we did was what we called a warm-up campaign, where, like Hank suggested, we did small batches. That's definitely important. If you have a very large list of cold emails, you don't want to blast all of them. Your account would probably get shut down. So do small batches, and it's just really important to be very upfront in the email about why you're emailing them. Remind them that, hey, you guys worked together in the past. For the client we worked with, they were customers, so we were reminding them that they were customers either a year or 2 ago. We're following up. The reason we're following up is because we're actually going to be sending a promotion soon, and we want to make sure you're in the know. And then we were very clear with how to opt out. So we said, we know that you may not want to hear from us, and that's okay too. Just click here to opt out, and you won't hear from us. But if you do want to hear about our upcoming promotion, then do nothing, and we'll be in touch soon. And we obviously lost a lot of the subscribers to opt-outs, but that's the lesser of 2 evils. As Hank was saying, you don't want to ruin your deliverability, so it's okay if they opt out. And then everyone that was left on there was now warmed up, as we say, and then we were able to successfully launch a promotion after that campaign.
Great, thanks, Phil. Our next question comes from Robert, and he is asking, how many emails tend to be too many per month, per week, per day? That he knows it's very industry specific, but are there general guidelines?
That's a really good question, because it's going to be dependent on you and your brand. How much content do you have? How much can you create? And how much is too much? If you're a retailer and people like to buy your products, once a week is good. If you're a service provider or consultant, I think once a month is good. It just really depends on your audience and who you're sending to and where that dip in engagement is going to happen. In other words, if you send out once per month, you'll probably have a little bit more engagement than sending out once a week if you're sending out service-based emails. Really just give the subscriber what they want. And if you don't know, offer them options in your unsubscribe page, or ask them up front through a survey and say, how often would you like to receive emails? And go with the majority. Or maybe you could set up separate lists with different types of frequency. There's so many ways to go about that. And again, it just depends on your business and what you typically can send or what you can create.
And I will follow up on that as well. I totally agree with what Hank was saying. And I would just remind everyone of the bank analogy. To Hank's point, it definitely depends on how much content you have. And if you have a lot of great content and it's valuable and your audience would want to read that, then that allows you to email more frequently. And by emailing more frequently with valuable information, that allows you to then send more promotions, because you want to maintain that one-to-one, at least one-to-one ratio of promotions to sending value. And then if you're sending more promotions, you would generally be driving more leads and sales for your business. But ultimately, it comes down to how much content can you create and how much valuable information can you create, because that then limits how many promotions you can run.
All right, thank you both. Okay, so this is a follow-up question to, I believe both of you had mentioned sending out small batches of emails to people that were potentially not engaged. And we just want a clarification on, like, when you guys say small batches, is it 10% of your list, 5% of your list? What is the rough estimate for how many people you would actually want to send that could potentially not be engaged currently, so that you don't get flagged for spam?
Well, I think I mentioned weaving, some disengaged folks into your engaged list. Some things that we recommend to our customers is also sending, a follow-up email if you can, if you have the content and maybe your subscribers would like to say, if they're openers, sending them separately an email, right? And then what we call rest your non-openers. In other words, make a segment of your non-openers and rest them for a little while and keep sending to your engaged folks, and then weave back in. It could be 10, 15, but no more than 25% of your disengaged folks, or maybe new folks that you don't know anything about, back in, so that it kind of increases your credit score, right? It's like making those payments on time, and it's like trying to reduce the amount of negative actions that you're going to get. Just to recap, go ahead and send to your full list, and then maybe send a secondary email a week later or something to your engaged folks or your openers, while suppressing some of your non-openers, but then adding them back to the mix. Also, reply to campaigns seem to be very powerful, especially with Gmail. If you send out an email and you actually have an email address that you're monitoring, and you ask people to reply with something, ask a question and just create something that doesn't require a lot of work on your half to keep responding to people. But reply, it seems to be a very high form of engagement. So if you send out an email and have them reply, it'll help. I used to work with a client that was subscription based, so people had to renew their subscription every 6 months, and the only way you could do that was by replying to the email. And then they had an automated thing on their side that would reply to the email, give them a link to go ahead and renew. People knew that they had to do that. Therefore, if they didn't get the email, it was in their spam, they went looking for it and they pulled it out of the spam folder, which is another form of high engagement. So taking emails out of spam and replying to an email are really great ways to boost your engagement.
That's great. And then this is the last follow-up to that question from Sarah. She said, what if you're just starting out and you don't have any engaged people on the list, or the list is very small? Do you have any tips for people just starting out with emails to try to figure out how to balance that?
Right. If you're new to email marketing, or if your domain's new, Gmail's probably, and the other providers as well. I mentioned Gmail because they have a really sophisticated algorithm. So if you can really work with that, then the other ones are a little bit more like child's play. What happens is, if you have a new domain, or maybe you're just starting with your email marketing, they're probably going to cut you some slack. What they're going to do is they're going to start sending your emails to the inbox and see how people react. They actually do that from time to time, these providers. They'll just say, hey, they're kind of hovering on good and bad. Let's put some more of their emails into the inbox and see what happens. And then they measure it. And if people start ignoring it or marking it as spam, they'll go ahead and put more of your email to spam. But if the opposite happens, more people engaged, they're going to start rewarding you. It's like building your credit score. That's why I love that analogy.
All right, thank you very much, Hank. So it's 1 o'clock. We're finishing up. The last and very final question is we had a couple people just asking one more time who they could contact again for some one-on-one help, and to go back to that slide. So maybe we can show that one last time so you can remind everyone of what they can do to reach out.
So it's a free email campaign audit, icontact.com/LP/audit. And again, if you want a $30 account credit, if you're looking for an email provider, you can use Hank Friend for a $30 account credit. My email address is hank@icontact.com. If you have any questions, feel free to email me directly. Or if you Google Hank Hoffmeyer on Google, you'll see probably 2 pages of results of where you can find me on social media. I'd be glad to correspond with you there or through email. But hopefully we'll see you on board here, and I'd love to see us doing some audits for some of the folks on the call today.
Wonderful. We definitely think that's a great thing to take advantage of. So Phil and Hank, thank you both so much for providing all this great content. As a reminder, everybody, we'll be sending out a follow-up email that will have the PDF to these slides and a link so that you can watch the replay video and revisit some of these excellent tips that you can use to grow your email marketing. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you both again.
Thank you.